Good morning, students. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Pattern on top speed important way of looking at the induction machine in an effective way, in an engineering way. So, as you know that the x-axis parameter is slip. Okay. In other words, it can also be called as the rotor speed. So, the first point that we notice here is this. This is called slip is equal to 1, right? And this is called slip is equal to 0. And the definition of slip is given here, right? Definition of the slip is omega synchronous speed minus omega rotor speed divided by omega synchronous speed. Synchronous speed depends on the number of poles. Rotor speed depends on number of poles. So as a ratio, slip is not a function of number of poles, right? This is slip is equal to 1, slip is equal to 0. The y-axis is torque, electromagnetic torque developed by the machine. It has the characteristics that at slip is equal to 0, slip is equal to 1, sorry, slip is equal to 1 corresponds to starting condition, because slip is equal to 1 implies rotor speed is equal to 0. So what is observed, what can be observed that slip is equal to 1 has certain torque. That is the beauty of the induction machine. Synchronous machine doesn't have this beauty. Synchronous machine has no starting torque. Induction machine has a starting torque. Therefore, it is very suitable for motor applications. Induction machine, a synchronous machine is more suitable for generator applications. So this is the starting torque that is produced by the machine, right? Then, as a function of speed from our equivalent circuit, we can calculate the torque, the expression of torque, as we have seen somewhere it is there. Yeah, this is the expression of the torque, electromagnetic torque. Common sense also is important looking at it. It is 3 times into I2 dash square into R2 dash by S. This is nothing but I2 dash square. So that is the equivalent circuit. Equivalent circuit is simple. 2 resistances and 2 reactances. This is the equivalent resistance. This is another equivalent, Thevenin equivalent reactance. This is the R2 dash is the rotor resistance. R2 dash by S is the effective resistance of the rotor due to the slip. That includes the effect of mechanical power transferred from the rotor, and X2 dash is the physical inductance of the rotor coil referred to the stator. So this expression, from this expression, we can continue varying S and develop, and we see that this characteristics are slightly nonlinear characteristics, implying that it will only have one, it will have a peak value, that is the maximum torque, and then it will climb down to 0. At synchronous speed, rotor synchronous speed, there is no torque. That is why it is called asynchronous machine. Induction machine is called asynchronous machine. Rotor speed can never reach the speed of the synchronous speed. Okay. So that is what we know. So this is the characteristics in the mostly motoring zone. Okay. And this may be the rated operating point, because we have already learned actual operating point is an intersection point between the load torque characteristics, which is also a function of speed, and the induction machine's torque speed characteristics. Where they intersect, they operate. So this is what is the operating slip at this point. This is the operating slip. At this slip they will operate. This is called rated operating point, rated slip. You must note that rated slip is far away from the slip for maximum torque. The reason is this. Reason is that simple reason is there. Simple reason what we can say that PG is called air gap power. Power that is entering the air gap. PG is air gap power. PG into 1 minus S is actually output power. So S into PG is what? Loss. Loss in rotor. So rotor copper loss. So you see that, and the torque is how much? And the torque is how much? Torque is PG by omega sin. Omega synchronous is constant. So you can see that for a given torque, S should be as minimum as possible. Otherwise, there is loss, rotor copper loss. So in order to reduce rotor copper loss, relatively, we would need to operate at lower slip. We need to operate at low slip. We need to operate at low slip so that effectively the efficiency is good, right? The efficiency is output power by the input power. The efficiency would be PG into 1 minus S by, this is efficiency, by PG. So what is good for efficiency? Good for efficiency is that S is as low as possible, but it cannot be 0. 0 means that we are not producing any torque. So given that situation, we have to choose an operating point which doesn't correspond to. We should not be tempted to go for very high torque. Only torque is not the objective. We should not be tempted to choose an operating point, rated operating point here. That should not be the objective. Objective is a combination of the both. We should have as much torque as possible, but we should also look at the slip so that the efficiency is good. So you may say that if you require higher torque, you have to produce a characteristics where this would be the rated torque at that same slip. You have to choose that kind of machine. You have to choose a higher frame size machine which produces, suppose this slip is at 3%. Suppose if I would have chosen this, it would have been slip would have been 5%. Suppose if I had chosen the 5%. Okay, for this machine. For the machine, this higher value of torque is produced at 5% slip, let us say. However, if I require this much torque, then I will choose such a machine that produces this much torque. Let us say double torque. Let us say this torque is TL, this torque is 2TL. That will produce double torque, but that double torque 2L at slip of again 3%. Right? So this way we have to keep that in the design. We have to choose lower. That means what? That means the original value of the resistance we have to reduce. That means we have to use thicker conductor so that the slip actually comes back to again about 3%. So, and that can be possible by changing the machine, going to the higher machine. So the clear understanding of this has to be there. Even though from the same machine we can achieve higher torque, but that is not our rated operating point. What is the implication of rated operating? Rated operating point is a point where we can work, where we can operate indefinitely. But means it will not, nobody will tell that after 1 hour you stop. There will be some problem. But if we had operated at higher point means higher torque point with higher slip, what would have happened is rotor copper loss would have been increased and the machine would have become really hot, and it might have also failed after maybe 1 hour. There is a thermal time constant. It doesn't fail instantaneously. No machine can fail instantaneously due to thermal reason. Thermal things have higher time constants. Electrical time constants are low. Thermal time constants are high. So you must understand rated means not maximum. Rated means surprisingly quite modest. Quite modest. It may be 1/3 of the maximum torque, 1/4 of the maximum torque, because we want to produce that point at low slip to improve the efficiency. Efficiency is a very, very important aspect of electrical power conversion. When you learn power electronics in the next semester, you will realize how important it is. Resistance in the power conversion procedure is almost taboo. We should not do anything using resistance for getting one form of voltage to another form and so on and so forth, right? So here also it is like that. Here also like that resistance, if the resistance of a certain coil is certain value, so I have to operate at a lower slip to make sure that the corresponding loss is not dominant, corresponding loss is not substantial with respect to the amount of power that is output. And the output power is the mechanical power, and the mechanical power is actually 1 minus S into PG. So what we learned is here that at this operating point, at this rated operating point, the output power is PG into 1 minus S, and the input power is PG, right? So input power is PG. So input power can be thought of as T load, T electromagnetic, T rated torque into omega sin, whereas the output power can be thought of as rated torque into 1 minus S omega sin, that is the rotor speed, right? So the difference between input power and the output power is, input power is proportional to omega sin, output power is proportional to omega rotor at the operating point, omega rotor or 1 minus S into omega sin. That is the difference. Rest of the power, the difference between them is going to be acting as a rotor copper loss. Right. Now let us see some more things. Some more things is this thing. This thing is maximum power transfer. When does it happen? When the maximum power transfer happens, I should say when our objective, basic objective is that in torque speed characteristic, when do we get maximum torque? When means at, when implies at what slip, right? Here we do a trick. What is T max? T max would happen, must be equal to PG max by omega c, when the air gap power will be maximum, right? T max, because T max basic expression is what? T max's basic expression was T's basic expression was PG into 1 minus S by omega sin into 1 minus S. This cancels. So it is basic expression is PG by omega c. So this becoming maximum only when, because this is a constant, this has to be maximum. So when will that be maximum? PG, air gap powers. So let us look at the equivalent circuit quickly and see that this is the equivalent circuit. PG is the air gap power, so this doesn't matter. So this doesn't matter. And air gap power is here, power corresponding to here. That means the power that is entering the rotor. That is what is PG. And here, what is the power component here? Combined component of R2 dash by S. So PG max happens when the power in this resistance is, this is a metaphorical resistance, it is an equivalent, it is equivalent resistance in the equivalent circuit of the rotor. So when that becomes more maximum. So when is that maximum? Then we apply our maximum power transfer theorem, and we know that the seen from this, the impedance has to be equal to that. That has to be the impedance. Sorry, this is not there. We have removed that because it is equivalent circuit of RE and JXE. That is the equivalent circuit, and this is X2 dash. This has been removed after taking the equivalent circuit. Let me not confuse you. This is not there in the equivalent circuit. Is not there. PG is the power that is going from here to here. That is what PG power is going. This is RE JXE. So now you know I can apply that this impedance is equal to this impedance. So that is what we have applied. That is R2 dash by S max. S max is the slip corresponding to maximum torque. That is the S max. So that is would be equal to magnitude of that. So RE square plus XE plus B square, that is the condition, the slip at which maximum power transfer will occur, and the corresponding maximum power, by putting that value we can find out. This would be the expression. Note that in this expression, what is to be noted, very qualitative noting is very important. What we do, we see that there is no R2 dash and S component here. There is no, the maximum torque value doesn't depend upon what is expression wise, expression wise, it doesn't depend upon the rotor resistance. It doesn't depend upon the rotor resistance and the slip. It depends upon these quantities, RE and XE and X2 dash, right? So if that knowledge we have, we can do a few nice things now. We now do a few nice things now. Let me take a page. So what we will do is, so one characteristic is this, and this is the peak torque, T max. So by looking at the torque expression, what is the torque expression? Let me write it here. This is the torque expression. By looking at the torque expression, this is the general torque expression, TE. We can find out a few things. This is omega in S is equal to 0, S is equal to 1. We can find out one thing. One thing you will observe very interestingly is that R2 by S as a ratio, if I keep unchanged, okay, the characteristics remains almost similar, right? R2 dash by S, if I keeps unchanged, then the torque is unchanged. That means along with the resistance, if I change the slip as well, then the torque value will be same. In other words, for the same torque, if the resistance is, let us say, double, I will have to get the same torque at twice the slip. Look at it, torque R2 dash by S. For the same value of torque, I need to have same value as a ratio, R2 dash by S. So if a machine is designed with double the rotor resistance, it will produce the same torque at double the slip, isn't it? You see that no change is there. As a ratio, as long as we maintain R2 dash by S ratio, as long as we maintain the same value of torque will be produced. So therefore, let us say this torque value I want to produce at a for a machine, another machine, which has rotor resistance double. So what I will know? I know that the torque level is same, but slip here, whatever the slip, if the slip is let us say if slip is S1, then I have to go to a double the slip, maybe S2 is equal to 2S1. Suppose I call this slip S1, right? Then I have to go to a slip that is 2S1, and I will produce the same torque. So I will go there. So I will go, my characteristics is then following this way, this way. And the peak torque is again the same. And the peak torque will be achieved at a double the value. Sorry, double the value maybe here. So I will go there. I'm not doing well, but you know what I mean. Right. So this may have a rotor resistance R2, and this will have a rotor resistance R2 dash, because you see the peak torque expression doesn't have any R2 expression in it. So I am sure that this will be also reaching the same value of peak torque, because as sorry, here I have not put another value, omega sin. So as long as I have the same supply voltage and the same synchronous speed, as long as I have that, hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Was it lost for some time? The volume was lost?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So what I was saying is that this, as long as VTH and omega sin is same, but resistance different, okay, the characteristics is like this. So similarly, if I further change it qualitatively, it will go like this. So all of them have got higher resistance. This is further higher. This is R3. I said 2R2. This is 2R2, double R2. Resistance is double. So I said R3 is greater than second R2 actually, R2, and then greater than. These are the three characteristics. Characteristics 1 with resistance R2, the second characteristics with resistance 2R2, and the third resistance is characteristics with R3, where R3 is greater than all of them. Okay, so it will be like that. So what does it mean? What does it physically mean? The physical meaning of this is that at starting you are able to produce higher torque with higher resistance. At starting you are able to produce, this is giving you higher starting torque. So larger the rotor resistance, the greater is the starting torque. Is the starting torque. And what is the consequence of that? Consequence is that the larger or more larger doesn't look like, more is the rated slip. Rated slip means rated torque at what slip? Rated torque is here. We have seen that the rated torque is here. So rated torque, you are seeing that it will be produced at more and more slip. That means the machine is becoming inefficient under running condition. It is good for starting the machine because it is producing higher torque at starting, and therefore it can overcome the load torque better. It will speed up quickly. For example, the first machine might not have started if the load torque were this. Maybe it will not start if the load torque is this. Or let us say this guy. If the load torque is this. If the load torque is this, it might not start. Okay, but the first machine, the third machine, and the second machine will start. Okay, if this is the load torque, this is the load torque. The first machine will not start because first machine has lower starting torque, right? So from the starting point of view, having higher resistance is good, but under running condition, the rated running condition, it is not good because it will have more copper loss and the machine will be thermally worse and the efficiency will be bad, right? So you may wonder why I am talking about this, why I am talking about, you already know that rotor is a frozen thing, right? Rotor resistance is a frozen thing because squirrel cage machine, it truly is a frozen thing. The squirrel cage machine has no terminal, no extra terminal. But there is another kind of machine called wound rotor machine. The wound rotor machine has three-phase winding that is exactly identical to the identical in the rotor. The stator and rotor windings are exactly identical. The rotor winding is exactly identical to the stator winding, three-phase winding, and it has three terminals as well. So whereas the induction machine is squirrel cage induction machine is mechanically compact, it has only three terminals, three stator terminals. Okay, the wound rotor induction machine or slip ring induction machine, that is called wound rotor induction machine or slip ring induction machine, same name, different name, but the same machine, or the induction machine has three rotor terminals as well. Has three rotor terminals as well. So what you can do is that three rotor terminals, suppose this is the rotor and this is the stator. So the rotor terminals will also be, stator has terminals, three terminals. Rotor also will have terminals. It will be brought out by slip rings. Okay, so it will be brought out by a thing called slip rings. It will be brought out by a thing called slip ring, like this. Okay, these slip rings, these terminals are available therefore in the stator plane. They are rotor connected to the rotor, but they are available in the stator plane. So in this thing, you can add extra resistances. You can add some resistances like this. You can add resistances, additional resistances. They will be reflected as a rotor resistance, additional rotor resistance. So what is possible is that in this machine, what is possible? Because we have seen that if higher resistance is there at start, then it is good because it will produce, machine will produce higher starting torque. But it is not good if that resistance stays connected to the machine at rated running condition. So in squirrel, in the wound rotor induction machine, therefore gives us the opportunity to initially connect these resistances, these three resistances initially. Initially means at the time of starting. And when the starting is over, then we short the machine, short these resistances, so that it again goes back to like behaving like a squirrel cage induction machine.
Sir?
This, yeah.
Sir, in spite of connecting the resistances, can we not connect the load after the machine is started?
Connect the load after the, oh, you mean to say rotor is rotating and the mechanical, you will, how will you see mechanical, this is a mechanical load, right? It has a shaft. you know, after the shaft is rotating, this is the mechanical load, let us say. It also has a shaft. You actually do is coupling that. You couple the shafts, nut, bolt, you couple it. That is how mechanical stuff comes to the electrical shaft. And you mean to say, after the machine has started rotating, you will couple it. That is impossible, no? Mechanically impossible. One rotating thing and a mechanical shaft which is stationary, you have to connect a stationary shaft to a rotating shaft. That is impossible. Am I answered? Have I answered your question? That is mechanically
Yes, sir.
impossible. Mechanically to connect two shafts which are rotating, one is rotating, another is stationary, is impossible, right? That is never possible unless you do very, I don't know. I cannot, because who will then put the mechanical shaft to come to the same speed? Only if it is same speed, then you can connect it. So it is impossible. That is not what could be done. What would be done? All the major work we do on the machine itself, not on the mechanical side. We consider mechanical side to be a little dumb. It will dumb. The faster, more adaptive, more flexible side is the electrical side. So the burden of most of the control comes to the electrical side. So here, some question. Any question?
Yes. Sir, if we see the torque expression, means for the starting torque, S will be 1, right, in the torque expression.
Yeah,
Sir,
yeah.
the numerator has means only 1, means it is dependent only on R2, and the denominator is dependent on R2 dash. Now, so if we increase the R2 dash, then denominator will means increase at a faster rate than the numerator. So torque, starting torque should decrease now. Means if we increase R2 dash, that part I couldn't understand. Please.
You are not understanding how starting torque will increase, right?
Yes, sir.
This
Means
is
from the expression, it seems it should decrease. Means if we increase R2 dash.
no, not really, because you see the current is increasing heavily, right? Because you see that if you are what did I say, that if R2 dash, if I increase, the starting torque will be increasing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So starting torque will be increasing because of the reason that you see this is S is equal to
So means are you saying something? I think you are
Sir,
muted.
you are muted.
Sir, you are muted.
okay. For the original machine, this is 1, S is equal to 1, and now you have increased the resistance, right? So this point is now coming to this point, coming to this point of the original curve, so which has higher torque than this point. So what I mean to say, this point this is the first point, starting point, and then take this torque corresponding to this slip, which is transferred to here, the third characteristics.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Got it, sir. Means if we increase the resistance, the graph actually shifts to left part.
Yeah, yes.
So if it
Yeah,
shifts, so it will intersect the y-axis at a higher point. Means
yes, yes, yeah.
okay, sir, understood.
So that is the basic point. Now, last class also some small doubt was there regarding generator. I want to again touch the generator and see if I can give you more feel or insight of the thing. So what is the equivalent circuit? Equivalent circuit is This is RD JXC, and this is X2 dash. This is R2 dash. This is R2 dash into 1 minus S by S. This is the mechanical port. This port is the mechanical port, right? This is the mechanical port. So one way of looking at it, that when slip is omega sin minus omega rotor by omega sin. One is just to look at it very ordinarily. Ordinarily is that it is possible that omega rotor is greater than omega sin. Why not? Nobody is constraining the value, speed of the omega rotor. Omega rotor can be theoretically anything. Okay, it can be anything. Depending upon that, the slip will be determined. Induction machine is as such not putting any constraint on the value of omega rotor. So your choice, it's your choice. So you choose that omega rotor that is mechanical. First of all, let us understand from equations. So omega rotor, if it is greater than omega sin, then you see that the corresponding slip is less than 1. Is negative, sorry, less than 0, meaning that it is negative. When such a thing happens, what does this mean? Meaning that this resistance, there is a, if this is the considered to be a resistance, this resistance has become less than 0, right? What does it mean when we see that in some place a resistance is less than 0? What does it physically mean? Resistance 0 is related to a thing of generation of power, because power is what? Ordinary power is I square into R, right? I don't care whether I's expression is positive or negative. It doesn't mean anything, right? Only if resistance, so-called resistance, you have to take this resistance in a, not in a physical sense, conceptual sense, equivalent thing that is happening. If I can represent some voltage current relationship by a simple resistance V by I, that kind of relationship if I express, then a resistance value is obtained. Kind of metaphorical resistance. It is not a physical resistance. So that's why it may thought of, suppose this is this conceptual resistance is negative. What does it imply? This is implying the power, this is P is less than 0. Now, what is P less than 0? Conceptually, we think that this is something, a black box. If P is in this direction, that is positive. P greater than 0, this is positive. P positive, and the fellow that is receiving this thing is a load. Is called a load. Who receives power? Who receives power in this sense is P is equal to a black box. It is receiving power. Its power is greater than 0, positive, and therefore it is called load. Who receives power? So receiving is a positive convention. Okay. So now, if I reverse the convention and say that power is power. I have not yet decided the current, because we have seen current has very little role in deciding the power. Current is square, so either whether it is positive or negative, it doesn't really making any difference, right? So if the power is in this direction, then we'll say that this is generator, because now load is such that instead of receiving power, it is giving power. That means a load that gives power. Load, if I take a name, just a name, a load. A load, positive load means receiving power, and negative load means giving power. It is when the load is delivering power. This is delivering power, or from the conventional sense of P positive, this is P negative. Okay. Suppose the load terminal power is negative, then we'll say with the convention is arrow towards the load. If this is negative, then we'll say that is a generator. And the generator, in order to be a generator, its VI relationship must be showing a negative resistance. So how does it happen? It happens this way. That means it happens in this way. Suppose this terminal is positive, and the current is this direction. This is I. Then you see V by I relationship is negative because a load's positive current direction is this. This is I less than 0, negative convention. Current is actually going in this direction, but the convention wise I is less than 0 actually. Or we should say, we should not confuse. We should say that the I is here. I is here. Let us follow the convention, and I is less than 0. Right? So that that would mean the resistance R is less than 0. If I just define V R is equal to V by I, if I define R is equal to V by I, then it is equal to 0. So negative resistance is implying, in this case is implying that there is a voltage source developed here equivalently, and it is such a high value of voltage source compared to this value of voltage source, that is the air gap. This is the Vm compared to Vm. This voltage source VL is higher magnitude. That has happened, and this therefore this is pushing the current in this direction. This is the pushing, actual current is pushing in this direction, which is negative convention, which is current negative, because we have taken I2, basic I2 is equal to this direction, that is I2 positive. This is I2 direction. Actual current is now going in this direction. Okay, so this is a negative current. Voltage is positive, not voltage is negative. Voltage across the load, if you take the terminal, there is no physical terminal, conceptual terminal, the voltage is positive. And current is this, voltage is this, means resistance has to be negative. That's why the negative resistance is, that is the implication of negative resistance. That is why it is the implication of this is less than 0. That is has to happen, R less than 0. And this current, therefore you see it is now, with respect to this voltage source, actual current is, stator current is also consistent. Stator current is coming here. Okay, so therefore stator is receiving energy, receiving power. Therefore the mechanical fellow is stronger here. Mechanical fellow is giving power to the electrical fellow, right? So mechanical fellow is the, as I was saying in the last class, is the bully here. That means it will decide which direction the machine will rotate. So mechanical torque will decide which direction mechanical, but the torque expression remains unchanged. Only we have to put slip is equal to negative. That's it. No other way it is different. No other way it is different. Right? Only it is negative torque. Expression doesn't change. It is generic. Just put slip is equal to negative to get the torque. And the torque negative, rotation is decided by the torque. So if the torque is in this direction, I don't know which one is that direction. Anything is positive, negative, you can do it. So earlier, if I had taken this clockwise as positive, now I have to say this as the negative. Right? So, so if this is, let me start from this. Mechanical torque is in the direction of rotation because it is the bully. So let me remove this. So if this is the direction of rotation, omega rotor, now the mechanical torque, T load torque or mechanical torque, whatever way you call it, is in the same direction. It is dictating, and electrical torque is negative, which is also common sense. You see the current direction has changed, so power is negative. Power is become negative, electrical thing. So that is negative and torque is negative because we have not changed the speed direction. Speed direction is remaining same, but load torque is now in the same direction, but the electrical torque is in the opposite direction. That is the negative portion of the car. That is the portion of the car we had drawn here. This one is the, this is omega T, this is omega rotor, this is T, P electrical in this direction, and this is the generator zone. This is because slip is this is slip is equal to 0, and this is slip is equal to 1. This is slip is less than 0. Slip less than 0. Negative slip. But characteristics wise, same kind of slope it will show. But because of the equation, if you look at it, sum of the part is square, so it doesn't matter. It will show same. In fact, you can see that approximately, as I was telling you in the earlier class, that this zone, when slip is low, slip is less, that zone, which is the more meaningful zone where we operate the machine, will never operate. As a generator also will not operate anywhere beyond this, because as a generator also you want to have a higher efficiency. And the generator equation, how the power balance occurs? Here the power balance occurs in this way. Earlier, what was that? Earlier it was Pg is the power, air gap power, minus rotor copper loss is equal to Pg into 1 minus S was the output power. Output power. Right? And now what will happen is this power was SPG. SPG. And now what will be the thing is, because of the slip negative, the air gap power plus SPG will be the mechanical power. Mechanical power will have to be more than this. Here I am taking S as just magnitude wise. I am taking S as the magnitude. So so again the loss is SPG, okay, and don't take negative here. Here it is S, magnitude S. So rotor copper loss, that is what mechanical power is supplying the air gap power, which is being converted into electrical power, plus the rotor copper loss. In the case of motoring mode, input power or the air gap power or the electrical power minus the slip power or the rotor copper loss was equal to the output power. So output power magnitude wise was less than the input power. In this case, if you think the mechanical power as the input, that's why it is more. Mechanical power is more than the amount of power that is converted into electrical energy, electrical power, because it has to supply not only the electrical power but also the loss, copper loss. So it is now supplying copper loss plus the electrical power. Because that is the way the equations are framed. The physical meaning of this thing is there. And what was the torque expression? Simpler torque expression. Simpler torque expression was TE. Again, I write it 3 into V S TH square by omega sin, and the bottom portion near to the slip, when slip is very high, is very low, R2 dash by S is dominating. So R2 dash by S will dominate over everybody. So this is R2 dash by S square into R2 dash by S. So what is it saying? It is saying that it is 3 PSTH square by omega sin, right? And this cancels. So what we will say that it is S by R2 dash. This is a nearly good, very good expression of torque when slip is low. Assumption is slip is nearly equal to 0, which is the interesting zone. Okay, so you can see the slip negative, putting slip negative, it makes torque negative. Slip positive, it makes torque positive. Right? Right? So this is just symmetric. Just symmetric in the generator zone. Okay, so do you get the idea of this thing? Okay, one more small addition to this interpretation. Nice, very nice interpretation thing we are doing here. Just take another page. Just take another page and let us see. So this is the original torque field characteristic. Now I have another question. That is, torque expression is 3 VSTA square by omega sin. This is R2 dash by S. This is RE plus R2 dash by S square plus XC plus X2 dash square. That is the expression. Right. Now I have one question. That is what happens if I change the synchronous speed? What happens if my synchronous speed is different? That means I'm comparing 2-pole machine to 4-pole machine. Okay. So 2-pole machine to 4-pole machine, if you compare, first thing you should see that first see the simpler zone. Right. You see that if I change the synchronous speed, its characteristic, let me draw it and explain you. Synchronous speed will be different now. So here, right? So here, if it is different, then how the synchronous speed it will go to the, I will tell you why. It will go to the same speed, but it will go like this. That means it is just replicating some more characteristic. If I want to draw some more characteristic, you can draw it many characteristics like that. Okay. Right. In all the cases, the maximum torque is constant. Tmax is constant. Why? Why is this reason? Okay. What was the expression of Tmax? So you remember the expression of Tmax? Yeah. So this was the expression of the Tmax. You can see that in this expression, omega sin has changed. I said that omega sin has changed. So omega sin, if it has changed, if I do a trick like I change omega sin, but along with that I change the VTH as well. So this expression is becoming.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, by saying you are changing omega synchronous, means do you mean you are changing only the number of poles, or you are changing the main frequency also? Means in place of 50 hertz you are using like 60 hertz like that?
It's a good question, very good question. At the moment, I will just say that we are comparing 2-pole to 4-pole machines and something like that. Okay. That
then the main frequency is constant, means we are just changing the number of poles.
Okay. Suppose we are changing the number of poles. Right. Okay. So if we change the number of poles, and if we do not, if we number of poles, but supply frequency is keeping same, okay, then what problem may happen is, suppose you apply the same voltage to a 4-pole machine without doing any change, then what may happen is that the machine may saturate. You just think about that. It may then saturate because the integration of the flux will go beyond that. So what we have to do is we have to apply this VSTH by omega sin. This ratio we are maintaining constant. This is essentially the expression of the flux, ratio of the flux. This omega sin you may multiply by P by 2, but essentially it is the expression of the flux. This ratio implies the expression of the flux. So the flux value, if we keep it constant while changing synchronous speed, what is going to happen? That's what we are trying to now see. So what is going to happen is that this is this omega sin now comes to the top, and this is RE plus square root of RE plus XC plus X2 dash square. Now we'll do an approximation. We'll see that
Sir, in the numerator it is Vs Thevenin, not the omega c.
no numerator.
Yes, sir.
Numerator is this square. I have multiplied it by omega c. Okay, just to make the flux level constant. Okay, just to, this is representing a flux level. So this expression omega sin has come on the numerator, but this will be this denominator. We are telling that RE is very nearly equal, is much less than XC or X2 dash. So effectively, this is the ratio of omega sin by X2 dash. So which is this X2 dash involves also omega sin. So they also cancel. So therefore, this is a basic function. It, 1 minute, it's proportional to that. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, this omega means in the Tmax expression, the 1 by omega sink is actually mechanical, na? And Xc and X2 will depend on the electrical omega sink. So as you said, we are not changing in electrical omega sink. Only means this 1 by omega sink will change, na? Because in Tmax, this omega sink is the mechanical, and the other means Xc X2 will depend on the electrical omega sink, na?
Acha, I will take it up in the next class. For the time being, you just think that it is a I am changing electrical frequency. Let us say both electrical. I mean, the machine is 2-pole. Let me one more time clarify. Let us take this case. Machine is 2-pole. May I say it again? Machine is 2-pole, and we are changing the electrical frequency. That means we are running the machine, and instead of 50 Hz, let us say we are running the machine at 25 Hz. But while doing so, we have reduced the voltage supply. We have reduced the supply voltage from whatever value we are supplying for 50 Hz to half the value. So we are maintaining the ratio of VSTH by omega sin constant. Is that okay? I am saying
Yes,
I am changing. Okay. I'm clarifying it again. Let us take the first simple case. Simple case is we are changing the stator frequency. Let's go back to that interpretation first. This is where I will say that synchronous speed is changed. Omega c is changed by applying a different omega s. Okay, and this is changed along with the magnitude of along with the stator voltage magnitude. Meaning that earlier, suppose it was 230 volt sine 2 pi into 50 t. Let us say I am now applying 115 sine 2 pi 25 t. This was the first case, and this is the second case. First case and the second case, where we have changed. This is omega sin corresponding to 50 Hz. This may be the second omega sin corresponding to 25 Hz. Corresponding to machine may have pole, 4-pole machine. So it may be 2 pi into 25 Hz into 2. That may be there. So corresponding to 25 Hz, this is the case. So what I am trying to say is that even in this case, the peak value of the torque will be unchanged. Peak value will come, we can see from the expression. We don't have much time to do it, and the next class we'll do it. So we will have the same value of peak torque, and when you are having, we are giving a different V by F. We call it V by F. We are giving a different V and different F, keeping the ratio constant. That means we are keeping the ratio of 230 versus 50 is equal to 115 versus 25 versus 25. This may be root 2, we should say. This may be RMS value. So this ratio. So with this ratio, we'll still have the ability to produce the same torque, peak torque. Okay, but we have the ability to produce more starting torque. This seems to be a better method of starting the machine, where you don't even, it can be applied even to squirrel cage machine, right? You don't need an wound rotor machine or a slip brake machine to apply this kind of starting method. You just choose a frequency of supply and corresponding reduction of the voltage. Okay, so this is an electronic method of starting, because corresponding reduction of voltage will require an electronic method. I'm sorry, I'll stop now. I have gone a little extra time. Thank you very much for listening. I'll continue on Wednesday.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, somebody wants to speak?
Yes, sir. Sir, can you again once summarize why do we not use induction machine as generator?
Why do it? Now we can use. There is no
But-
problem.
Why do we not prefer to use it? Yes, sir.
Why do we not prefer to use it? You prefer to use it is that it doesn't go to the synchronous speed. It has a speed variation depending upon load. Whereas synchronous machine will always run at the same, rotor will be always running at the same speed.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Your rotor speed, you know, rotor speed have to be varied as per the loading. Okay, your rotor speed will correspondingly change as per the loading, whereas in synchronous machine it is frozen. It is always the speed at which you rotor. You are assured that the supply voltage has got the same frequency. But suppose I rotate the induction machine at 1500 RPM. I don't know what is the supply frequency. Do you know? It depends upon the load. I don't know. In the beginning, I don't know. I know rotor speed. Suppose I am rotating at 1500. Only thing I know that the supply frequency will be lower than that. That I know, because rotor speed is more than the supply speed, electrical speed. So that I know, because it is asynchronous and there is a slip, right? The slip business is not good, because in the utility supply, you always want the frequency to be reasonably constant. Okay, so every time an intelligent controller will be required to do it, right? Our objective will be electrical frequency to remain constant, but the generating load may change, and accordingly the rotor speed you have to vary, which is reasonably difficult thing. Abhijit, have I answered your question, or you are still not clear?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
If not
Yes, sir.
clear,
Clear it is.
if not clear, next class we ask me again, remind me again, we will discuss. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.